If I were to say there's been one mantra for this channel, it has been capitalization by Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State in general. Well, now it being Turkey Day week, we're going to be thankful. Thankful alongside capitalization. We did capitalize, so there's a lot of things to be thankful for. Another national championship is definitely won, as is Brennan Presley in the record books. But I have to admit, the biggest, brightest, and best orange and black takeover of Houston has far more implications than I think most of us even realize.
You are Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma State Cowboys, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, y'all, and hello, all. Welcome back to Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily stop for all things Cowboy and Cowgirl related. My name is Cody Stovall. I want to thank you kindly for stopping by to make this your first listen here on Locked On Oklahoma State. Find us, of course, on every single podcasting platform, visually as well on YouTube. Find me personally on Twitter at AllDayOState. Today, we're partially brought to you by FanDuel. You already know it's number one as America's sportsbook betting partner. And right now, our new customers get $150 back in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. Again, that's $150 back if your team wins. Go to FanDuel.com/locked on to get started. Speaking of getting started, we know it feels good to be in the winner's circle, especially after the fiasco, aka the disaster, the monsoon that ended up being UCF. How fun is it, though, that we can look back on this and we talk about the cancelization of, right, Bedlam cancels out South Alabama. This win does inherently basically cancel out the UCF loss because thankfully UCF is so far down in the Big 12 pecking order. It's a bad look, but it's good for us in the race because the race is the guys at the top. And the guys at the top, we all have W's against, right? So head to head, all we got to do is keep winning, and we are in. I got a little bit of grief for not throwing Iowa State into the win and we're in scenario. That's because, honestly, I didn't see Iowa State going unscathed. Now, I did see them potentially beating Texas because we all know going to Ames late November is a disaster just waiting to happen. Texas did find a way to navigate through that disaster, which sets up a pretty fun meeting. But before we get to that and the excellence that is Brennan Presley, because if you go back and you look at the crowd in Houston, it was predominantly orange. This is not just hyperbole. I'm not being sarcastic. We legitimately probably had 45% of that stadium's capacity with orange and black on. That is a beautiful showing from the fan base, especially after a big loss, because we do know what is on the line. We know what the implications were if we beat Houston and beat BYU. So to see the fan base show up and show out like that, it is good for a multitude of reasons, right? Well, one of the lowest barometers here would be potential bowl games, whether it be the Alamo Bowl or the Cotton Bowl or whatever bowl it may be in the state of Texas. They do take into consideration to some degree how that other team travels. So clearly, the bowl system is already very, very well aware that Oklahoma State University can fill stadiums in the state of Texas all day, every day, without a problem. That was a beautiful sight to behold. Also, we talked about how the underclassmen in the recruiting class that happens to kind of be around that area. Guys, I did a little bit of digging. There's 54 four-star and above players in the state of Texas. A large percentage of those are in and around the Houston DFW areas. So to see that we can come in and take over Houston Stadium, that is good for eyeballs, especially for some of the young cats, the sophomores in high school, the would-be juniors in high school that are starting to go through the recruiting process. That's good for them to see that what you see at Boone Pickens Stadium does have the ability to grow legs and travel. We do have a phenomenal fan base, alumni base in the state of Texas, especially Houston. This is a sign, right, for all of those recruits that coming to Oklahoma State needs to mean a little bit more coming into the new Big 12. Capitalization, yes. But we also have to be thankful that we did, in fact, get the W in front of all that orange and black with a lot of future potential Cowboys on hand. Out of the 54 4-star, 5-star guys in the state of Texas alone, and again, a large percentage of them are in our recruiting area, this year, 16.7% of the national top 100 is also from the same area. We talk about capitalization and recruiting quite often, just like capitalization of the season quite often, and capitalization for Mike Gundy, yada, yada, yada. But this was a capitalization moment because what you saw in the stands was evidentiary proof that Oklahoma State does travel and the fan base is ready to rock and roll in the new Big 12 as one of the cornerstones. A lot of people assume Utah's going to come in, as do I, and be an instantaneous viable candidate to play some real ball. Yeah, 100%. But so is Arizona. If they can keep Jed Fish, the recruiting classes are getting better. The talent is a problem. I actually picked them to finish 5th in the Pac-12 preseason because you see an exorbitant amount of talent, good usage, it appears as though, out of the transfer portal, and the ability to kind of snag some of the West Coast recruiting that is inevitably going to die down because of the moves and all of the conference shifts. Guys, I would say if you're from Arizona, right, or Utah, it makes a lot more sense to go to Oklahoma State game, Colorado games, Kansas State games, Utah, BYU games, Arizona State games, as opposed to going out to California for any reason. It's good for recruiting. It is, right? Your USC, UCLA, they're gonna get theirs. But there's not going to be enough meat on the bone, in my personal opinion, for Washington State and the Oregon States of the world moving forward to capitalize. Players are going to be more interested in the Big 12 because they see the landscape as well. If you're looking at viability from top to bottom, what conferences are going to give you the most eyeballs, the most capabilities to go to the next level, and opportunities to play for titles and a 12-team format CFP berths? The Big 12 does all of those things. And you see the parity in the Big 12 as a recruit. It lets you know that you can go to almost any school and have a shot. But if you want to have a shot at a title every single year, you got to have the Oklahoma States, Kansas States, Utahs, Arizonas, whoever at the top year in and year out. You just do. Because rivalries matter. But we're not going to have the capability, if you look at the future scheduling, to establish a lot of future rivalries. I think that's the only mistake the Big 12's made thus far. I think WWE stuff, it's a pretty cool move. The Mexico stuff, the Rucker Park, Madison Square Garden, all this stuff the Big 12's doing, the Super Bowl party, live concert, all of this stuff that we have rocking and rolling, it sets us up for better recruiting as a conference. Guys, the Pac-12 going away will have an effect in recruiting, 100%. I mean, you look at Milwaukee Smith, the quarterback we just got. It was down basically to us and BYU. Arizona made a very, very viable push, but at the end of the day, it was us and BYU. Oklahoma State should provide more instantaneous opportunities to get bigger, stronger, faster, better, get in front of more eyeballs, more scouts, more execs, and play in more games. More games means conference title games. Conference title games, you win those, you're likely in the playoff games. Sometimes you'll have the opportunity to lose in the Big 12 title game and still get into the 12-team playoff format. Recruits know these things, and the showing by the fan base at Houston, I think, is not only positive, but it speaks massive volumes in recruiting. A lot of these recruits, high school recruits or coaches in the state of Texas, they understand the lay of the land for Oklahoma State, what it can provide. But there's also been a slight amount of trepidation in regards to whether they can trust that everything's going to go according to plan, right? Some of those people are the ones that are seeing this shift as well. They're having conversations with kids in the locker room that they coached or helped get recruited or recruited against. And they understand that this new buy-in from not just the players, but Mike Gundy as well, is kind of something a lot of these coaches have been waiting on. So as we show up and show out in Houston, it does great things as the word gets around that we have a more rejuvenated, reinvigorated, youthful, exuberant, having fun, recognition of some limitations and being a little bit more forthcoming with those and how to fix them. Mike Gundy, these are the signs that we need as an Oklahoma State Nation moving forward. Absolutely. Wholeheartedly, no questions asked. It's just a fact. And we're there. We are right there. But we're all about learning, capitalization, being thankful. Well, you have to be thankful sometimes for learning. Guys, I have to tell you today about Listening.com. Legitimately speaking, whether you're going for your PhD, you're going for your associates, or you're part of this working class professional that wants to continue to get brighter, better, and have better job capabilities moving forward. Sometimes you got to learn on the go because life is crazy. You got sports, you got studies, you got exams, you got finals. Sometimes you got kids and baseball tournaments. Learning on the go is imperative for you. So, guys, make sure that you give Listening.com every piece of attention you need. If you're a college student, in the middle of this incredible app called Listening.com, you can take any academic paper, PDF, or class material and kind of turn it into an audiobook format. It can even read out math equations, technical words, complicated documents. You can skip all the citations and footnotes and references because it'll take you right to it. It'll let you jump straight to the chapters or the sections that you need to listen to. And this is done from a statistical analysis phase. So it's not just willy-nilly, they pick random chapters. It's chapters that they know will directly correlate to what you need to learn. They even have the Cliff Notes stuff, guys. They've got one click note. You take a button and it automatically takes at least 10 seconds onto a notepad while you're listening. Right? Best of all, you just go to this link, listening.com/lockedon, and you'll be able to get your first 3 weeks of learning and listening for free. Go ahead and give it a try. It's usually only a couple weeks, but you're getting an additional week right now with Locked On with Listening.com. Again, guys, this stuff is crazy. You need to get on it. The one-click note-taking is wild. The automatic chapter detection that automatically detects the chapters you need to jump to, and they do it with data tables. The data tables you can review visually inside of your app. Make sure you go to listening.com/locked on today. Get the 3 free weeks started because learning is knowledge and knowledge is power. We all know this. Speaking of power, we always talk about what Oliie Gordon has done because it's phenomenal, which is why he's the best running back in college football. He has the most yards in all of college football, and he's definitely on track to right now win the Doak Walker Award. Best running back in all of college football. But Brennan Presley, I caught a little bit of flack for discussing about his plans to transfer, but I also had a couple messages yesterday that do beg the question: does this new side of Brennan Presley get into the record books? Could that persuade him to come back for another year? I think so. I do think so. I mean, why not? Now that he's top 10 all time in receiving yards in Cowboy history. And we're not just talking about the guys that are in the NFL right now. Like we've talked about recently, how we had guys like Chris Lacey and Dylan Stoner and Tyron Johnson always find ways to not only be on rosters, whether it be the 53-man or starting or practice squad, to continue to get more developed as time went on. Justin Blackmon, people forget that what he was able to do in such a short amount of time. Guys, it was just a few, 4 or 5 games, something like that he got in the NFL. And in those 4 or 5 games, the dude was able to go for like 600 and something yards. So if the rules are a little bit different, then, maybe that's different. But right now, Tyreek Hill is absolutely killing it. James Washington is still number one all time in yards in Oklahoma State history. But just whenever you take a peek at that in and of itself, you could list all of the dudes. Yeah, absolutely. But we'll just list the top 10 receiving yards Oklahoma State University history. James Washington, of course. And then you have Rashawn Woods. You have Justin Blackman, Hartley Dykes, Tylan Wallace, Juan Woods, Marcel Aitman, Des Bryant, Dylan Stoner, and now our main man, BP, Brennan Presley. As he busts into the top 10 all time, he's now going to be able to creep into some the other top 10 all-time receiving stuff at Oklahoma State University. So why not continue when the getting is good? Is he NFL ready? I think he could be. Is he NFL caliber? Absolutely. But if he's already inching towards these record books, and then he ends up one catch shy of the single game all-time Cowboy record, one more catch. He had 15 for $189. He has one. If he had one more catch, he'd be number one all time. He tied. He tied with 15 grabs in one game. And you just see how he does it. His hand strength has improved dramatically in his time in Stillwater. His understanding of route concepts and where to be and how to get there and how to pivot right off of one leg when he's getting wrapped up to spin and utilize the spin into a tackle to gain 3 or 4 more yards. Like, this isn't stuff that just happens willy-nilly. He's refined his skills in his time in Stillwater. And now that he is in the record books and it's official, why not come back for another year? We know that we have a decent amount of offensive linemen that have the capability to get another year. I mean, as they should. If you're going to be blocking for the Doak Walker Award winner and a legitimate coming into the season preseason Heisman guy, it's going to help your stock. It's going to help your capabilities. So if you're not one of those offensive linemen, which there's like 5 of, that can get another year, why not? I mean, I know there's a couple of you that have had quite a few injuries, but there's a couple of you that should come back. I mean, Dalton Cooper, you got to. Taylor Materko, you're that Swiss Army knife, man. Joe Maholsky, you've been grading out Jason Queso Brooks level. Why not come back? Well, it's the same for Brennan Presley. He can come back for another year. We know we lose Xavier Benson and Trey Rucker. We know we lose some other pieces, but BP doesn't have to be one of them. Just because you had conversations about potentially leaving when the season was over, you have time to change those. Does a Big 12 title change those? I don't see why not. I mean, we should be able to get Leon Johnson back. I mean, we could spend a whole episode complaining about that one, so we're not going to do that. I mean, as long as we continue to produce, guys, in the red zone, give Leon Johnson the ball. More fades in the end zone for number 17, please, and thank you. Just throw it up. That was something that we used to do every time we got in the red zone. At least one ball was a 9 fade. That's been a route that we've been loving even before Josh Fields, but since Josh Fields, it's been like something that we've installed, and Spencer Sanders threw a lot of them. So this is really the first time you're not seeing a crap ton of 9 route, deep fade, long lob balls. Throw more of them. Let Leon Johnson be that guy. He is that guy. Let him go high point in the red zone, just like Marcel Aitman was able to do, which is exactly what Leon Johnson would have been able to do next year if he'd been able to hold on to his red shirt. He knew he was going to have a Marcel Aitman type of year, but as long as we keep winning, then it doesn't matter. Because if we keep winning and we end up in the Big 12 title game and we win a Big 12 title game and Leon Johnson continues to do what he's been doing, same with BP, then the draft stock and opportunities are going to be able to kind of fall in place for him. But yeah, there's some guys that we unfortunately just have to lose. But there's some of these guys that we don't. It's not a necessity. They could come back. And even, yes, Alan Bowman, yeah, he could. And I'm not against Alan Bowman. I don't want to. I think we have more than enough talent returning to just, kind of move on. But anyways, I don't want to get caught up on that. What I would love to get caught up on, though, with you guys is FanDuel. Right? We already know it's America's #1 sportsbook betting partner for a multitude of reasons. And right now, our new customers can get $150 back in bonus bets with any $5 money line bet. Again, that's a $150 holla if your team wins on the money line. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's not a better time to get in the action. This app is safe, secure, and super easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options. Money lines, player props, over, under, Heisman, conference champion, who's going to win the Super Bowl, and more. So make sure you go there now. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn right now to kick off your NFL money-making season. FanDuel.com/LockedOn, the official partner of the NFL. We've got guys that are NFL bound. But when you think about how many dudes we should be bringing back for next season, plus the guys that we have coming in, plus we've got some more that are possibilities. Kobe Black is still a possibility. He was not a few months ago. Not at all. He is now. I do still think he's leaning another direction, unfortunately. But if that direction's, let's say, Texas, and let's say we take care of BYU and we play an 11-1 top 5 Texas in Arlington, will Kobe Black be there? Yes. As will a bunch of 4-star, 5-star dudes. Do we have the opportunity to flip a script there? Maybe. But if we don't make it there and we don't play Texas in Arlington, then it doesn't matter if we get that opportunity or not. So that's the importance. Plus the extra practices, the extra preparation. Clearly, you win the Big 12 title, you're in a New Year's Six Bowl. So that means you get that full allotment of the extra 20, 21, 22, 25 days or whatever of extra practices. You always see some young guys show up in a bowl game, and it's typically because of all these extra practices. Capitalization is huge. It's also huge to be thankful. Just like we're thankful of Brennan Presley, we're thankful that Mike Gundy kind of was able to dive back into this thing wholeheartedly and it be very malleable for the entire staff, the entire team. We're thankful that, whether it's Casey Dunn, the involvement of Rattay, the barbecues with Kale, Mike Gundy himself being in it. Don't know, but we're thankful that we're seeing a productive offense. We're thankful for Oliie Gordon. This linebacker core is really, really, really good. We're thankful for all that. But most importantly, right now, I think we should be thankful for the national championship that we were able to bring home. It hurt my heart a little bit whenever we kind of unfortunately found out when we won the national title in equestrian last year that it's not like NCAA. I mean, that hurts the heart a decent amount. But this is official NCAA national champions, Oklahoma State Cowboys. Men's team, and the women's team finished third. They got a third place trophy. So third in America. That's pretty good company, right? I think that's acceptable company to be keeping. But again, we got to swoop back to the men and the fact that it's a legitimate national title. Congratulations, cross country, for getting this thing done. And, we did it with 2 freshmen. We got 2 freshmen mixed up in here. And we know that we have a lot of talent with some of the upperclassmen on the cross country team. But to have 2 freshmen finish the way they did was absolutely phenomenal. So it's a good sign moving forward. But yeah, Dave Smith is one of those coaches that doesn't have anything to worry about on campus. This is his 5th national title as a coach at Oklahoma State. And we got a lot of guys coming back. I would love to be able to pronounce all these names, but I can't. So I'm not going to try. But it's impressive. It's Very impressive. So congratulations to men's cross country on getting a national title. I will work on those names so I can even give you a better shout out next go around. But yeah, now we get to reminisce a little bit more about this H-Town takeover and what it offers, what it provides, what it does from a recruiting realm and player parent involvement, high school coaches and their trustworthiness in making sure that our staff from top to bottom is going to maximize their kids' potential and future. All of that stuff is huge for the future of Oklahoma State. We can and should be at the top 3 every single year in the new Big 12. I think the country agrees with that. We just need to make sure that our main man, Mike Gundy, is continuing the path that he has been on the last month and a half or so. We get that. We're all good. All righty, guys. So we're going to have for this one right here, as always, I love you. God bless. Go Pokes. And thank you for tuning in to make this your first listen here on Locked On Oklahoma State. You could go anywhere, so happy you choose to be here. We got guests and a lot more fun stuff coming up this week because I won't lie, I'm pumped, but I'm also nervous. I'm also very, 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 very nervous. I have some trepidation within me this week. All righty, y'all. Later, taters.